My goodness. Good evening, all. You beat me in today. Let me get rid of that. We don't need that on there. We're a little bit early just to make sure that it's all working. Fingers crossed. We may have sorted out that final gremlin. Been working on it all week. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Jules. Well, one's on Facebook and one's on YouTube, so that answers my question. Are we working on both? I've even put my Christmas jumper on today, but you can't tell it's Christmas because it doesn't really show, does it? Oh, well. It is what it is. Hopefully the picture's nice and clear and you get me. I was going to do something a little bit sort of last minute Christmas thing tonight, and I thought, we're probably all a bit Christmased out, aren't we? Been doing Christmas since March, me. So yeah, Christmas is nearly done. So what have you all been up to? Thank you, Martin. Fingers crossed we're there. We hope we have got the gremlins sorted. So, Jules, Amanda, have you managed to see the... That's glaring a bit, isn't it? Or is it just me? Let me know. Am I glaring or is it just what I'm seeing on my screen? Fingers crossed I'm not. Did you watch the TV shows and did you like the demos? Fingers crossed you did, because you're going to see a bit of one of them. A little bit. Just because I had to rush them so much. I mean, I think I got 9 demos in, something like that. And for the first show, she talked for 20 minutes. So, yeah, we didn't get as much in as we'd hoped to get in. So, fingers crossed. Oh, suddenly loads are coming in. Hi, Dawn. You finished the washing up. Well done, you. Haven't even had tea yet. It's just me. Thank you, Martin. School. I can't believe it's school holiday. I can't believe it's Christmas already. It doesn't seem possible, Amanda, that we're at Christmas and we're nearly into 2025. Where this year has gone is beyond me. I think because we didn't really get much of a summer or anything, did we? So it's nothing very memorable about this year, really. Yeah, be nice to see a new year come in. My year of being 50. Oh, well. Anyway, so shall we get going? I'm glad you've learnt some stuff, Amanda. Hopefully not too much, otherwise I'm not going to have anything to teach you. Oh, you've been poorly. I saw you said that, Jules. Hope you're feeling better. At least it was this last week rather than next week when it's Christmas, and then it's never much fun when you're poorly. I remember being really poorly we'd been to Malta for Christmas and coming back for New Year. Oh my Lord. I came downstairs on New Year's Day. I looked at Martin, looked at my mum, burst into tears and went back to bed for 3 days. So, yeah, hopefully you're feeling better, Jules. Fingers crossed you're on the mend anyway. Right, so we'll get started, shall we? We'll flip round. Right, so we are going to be working with one of the new ones tonight, Forever Flowers. But I thought I'd just run through what we've got here, and then I will show you the new bits and pieces again for those that missed them on our last live. And then we'll get started. So we are using white embossing powder, Versamark ink. Hi, Susan. Anti-static bag. Vellum, which is like gold dust, I keep warning you all, and 250 GSM or 300 GSM. You could always try and teach me fussy cake. I try and teach you that, Amanda. You don't want to do it, but you would have to if you're going to do this card because it's flowers. Let me move this out of the way behind me here. Fingers crossed we won't drop it all. I just realised my cup of tea was still up on the side there. I better hide that as well. You don't need to see my cup of tea sitting on the bookshelf behind me, do you? And that was my cup of tea from earlier, so it's stone cold now. We're using Shabby Shutter and Kitsch Flamingo. Yeah, pink and green, you know it. The sticky glue is normal that comes in the 2 sizes, 250. Where did 250 come from? 120 or 30 ml. And then on to the new goodies. So we have got the new Forever Flowers. So you get the 3 different sizes of flowers and 3 different sizes of foliage. Evening Tina. Then we have floral circles. And then you get the sentiments that fit in this little gap here. And it says, with love, just because, just for you, you are in our thoughts and thank you. Evening, Carol. Carol, I was going to message you earlier. I was hoping you were going to be on here so I could make sure you were still all okay. Mystical Bouquet. as predicted, Mystical Bouquet has been the biggest selling. Oh, I'm doing as I'm told. Sorry, I knew I'd forget it. I told you I'd forget. Oh, wrong one as well. That's the one I need. We've got all new bits and pieces on my setup here, and that's Martin telling me I've got to put my logo up. Sorry, Martin. So we've got our Mystical Bouquet. It sold out. It went on pre-order. The pre-order has 3 left, I believe. So that is predicted to sell out in the next few minutes, probably. So we've got it on pre-order, and it will go into pre-order again for delivery just after Christmas. Just after the new year. Hi, Liz. So that is our Mystical Bouquet. We then have Never Ending Foliage. We're going to be using some of the words out of this one. So thinking of you, happy birthday wishes. So you can put all 3 together, or you can just do happy birthday, or you can do birthday wishes. Happy wishes if you really want to. And then obviously the lovely big circle. Remember, if you haven't seen our show before, let me grab my very well used one. In fact, I'll show you that in a moment. We'll do this, go through them first. Remind me to tell you about the middle of our stamps. And then we've got sentiments that say, wishing you a day wrapped in happiness, and just wanted to say hello. And then last but not least on the stamps, we've got our vintage wreath. I adore this one. I have just loved playing with this one. So just for you, thinking of you, thank you very much on your special day, sending birthday wishes and happy birthday to you, all fit in the centre here. But again, with this one, just depending on what colours you use, you could make it a Christmas wreath if you wanted to. So it doesn't have to just be for the one occasion or those few occasions. And then our stencils. Technically, they're all 7x7, but the way this one's all put together, it is slightly smaller. So this one's nearer 6.5-ish. Just to pre-warn you on that. So this is the squares and rectangles, but it's perfect for a 7x7 card because it is that little bit smaller. But just because of the way the box is all fitted together, it didn't quite stretch to the 7x7. It's not much out, you can see there, just that tiny 1/4 of an inch. Not even that. And then we have got our quilted, which again has been hugely popular. All of them, all the stencils have been going bonkers. So hopefully we'll manage to keep this in stock again now. Not to buy your kids Christmas presents. Well, actually, we don't buy Christmas presents anymore, Susan. We go on a nice holiday, so we've got till the summer to pay for it. Hi, Brenda. So that's quilted, and then we've got the flame stencil. If you watched our demo on TV, you could do so much with this one. I adore it. And then last but not least, our leaf crest. So you've got the stencil and the mask with this one. Right, so before I start the demo, I just thought I would share with you, for those of you that missed our show and seeing the samples, the demos, I thought I would share with you the demos that I made. So obviously we did the carnation right at the end of the last show because we sold out of everything else. So they asked me to fill in a little bit of time with some of our older stamps that were available on the website. So we did the carnation, which has huge amounts of dimension on it. And they're really sturdy. I mean, I'm giving that a fair old whack. That isn't going anywhere. So it's all made with the same size flower. I think this has got 8 layers in it. Yeah, 8 layers in this one. And then, so we've got the large one and the medium one here. The smaller you go, the harder they are to manipulate the petals. So be aware of that. And this one took 6. So it's a really sturdy card. Again, it would have to go in a box or hand delivered. Oh, I'm glad you finished all your cards, Amanda. I haven't even finished mine yet. So as I said, I love that vintage wreath, and this is why. I just love it. It's been stamped and embossed with gold embossing powder and just coloured in with the watercolour pens that I use, the clean colour pens. So it's on watercolour cardstock, so it's got a slight, my watercolour cardstock at the moment has got a bit of a creamy tinge to it. So that works really well with the gold. makes it stand up. Merry Christmas, Pat. And welcome. That makes a big difference, Amanda, using the same size flower for each flower. If you try and do the 3 different sizes, they can look a little bit, sometimes a little bit, that sounds silly, doesn't it? Homemade. And I know they're homemade, but do you know what I mean? And then we've got our Forever Flowers. We're going to be using this today. And again, we're going to be using 3. Hi, Di, you sneaked in there. I didn't see you. And then we've just used the Thinking of You stamp on there. And that is on... Thinking of You. That one is on the vintage wreath, I believe. Let me check. I can't remember which sentiments are on which of the 2 sets. Bear with me. I'm going to grab it. It's not on either of those 2. It must be on one of the others. Bear with me. We will find it. It must be out on my other sets. I'll have to find out where that Thinking of You comes from. I've got too many sets going on at the moment. That might actually be Vintage Floral Corner. But bear with us. We'll find out and I'll let you know on another one. On another live. It's not important. Flick through the website if you need to find that particular one, or ping me an email and I'll message you back with it. So again, this was just a card that you've seen me make loads of times, but I love this card and I love it in these colours. I make it so often. And it's 10-fold, so it's that way up. But you can also make it that way up and just change where you put the sentiment. And that looks like a really pretty card too. You could even pop your sentiment in there and use the lines for that. Then we have got our squares and rectangles. See what I mean? It makes a perfect 7x7 card. And then our mystical bouquet, and the sentiment in there is from our floral circles. So that's that one. And then again, another nod to some of our older stamp sets, because we ran out of everything in our second show. It worked quite well. They asked me to provide extra stock 2 days before, or 3 days before our TV show. So that was how we did it with some of our older bits and pieces. So this is something that we're going to use today. So you'll see me using it. Your favourite colour, Vivian. Which one's your favourite colour? I can't remember. The blue. Is that the one we're talking about? But welcome, Vivian. I didn't see you sneak in either. So this one is using our Social Butterfly. And I've stamped it once with white, and once with white opal. So it's got the sparkle on it. I don't know if we can pick that up on the light. And then we've got the quilted stencil that I've run through the embossing machine, which I'm going to do tonight to show you. So hopefully you will see that. And as I said, both the quilted, well, all of them have been really useful. The blues, I thought it was the blues, Vivian. So this one is using those 5 colours I love. Cracked pistachio, peacock feathers, fossilized amber, picked raspberry, worn lipstick is the order that this is done in. And then, hi Heather. I'm always late for things too, Heather. You're just missing me showing some samples, so you'll be able to pop back and have a look at them. So yeah, this is using our floral circles and that little sentiment in there. It makes a great card that kids, grandkids, anybody can make. Tell me about it, Di. My postage bill a year would scare you. It just going up and up and up, isn't it? But we spend all the time and effort making these fabulous cards. They're worth every penny to send them, and people do appreciate them. So as I say, this is our quilted and our floral circles. And here, because this colour came out stronger than I wanted it to, I have paper pieced the flower over the top, coloured it in and paper pieced it. If you saw my TV show, you'll see that underneath this is a pink flower and it didn't like it at all. So I've placed a yellow one over the top, which makes it a little blend in a little better. Where are we going to next? So then we've got the leaf crest mask, and then we have our never ending foliage stamp set. And I just think that's just a really subtle, and even for, like, could do that in lilacs and send it as a sympathy or anything like that. You know, you could really make a feature of this one. You can pop some flowers on there. The Forever Flowers that we're using would be perfect. Just a couple of those on the corner here would really make that pop as well. So that's that one. And then we're going on to the flame stencil. This doesn't really show up hugely here, but I want to show you if I can. So this one's been embossed. So I've run it through a die cut machine, embossed it quite lightly, and then placed the stencil back over the top and just went over it with, oh, it would make a nice wedding card, Amanda. Well done, you. Not that I make many wedding cards these days, unfortunately. All my friends are all married now. Yeah, so I've embossed it and then put ink through the stencil on the top. But I want to see if that does show it up better. So you can see what I mean. This is just run through a die cut machine. Your usual stencil run through a die cut machine. So you could use it either way around, really. I did it this way around because the stencil kind of slots itself back on the top, and it gives you the stencil to colour in without it moving around. I apologise if my hands look a little bit rosy. A friend of ours came over with her new puppy and I was playing with him, and he liked my hand to bite today. So let's have a look. That's that one. There are a couple of others I want to show you that we've played about with as well. So I'll show you those in a momento. And then last but not least, we have again the flames one. Flame stencil and our mystical bouquet. And again, I've paper pieced the flowers over the top, which I think really makes it kind of have a little bit of a 3D effect to it as well. So, and again, these were colours that you would never see me use. If you used... That's good too. Didn't think of that, Amanda. See, check you out. It's always the quiet ones, eh? I might try that just to see what it looks like. If I try it, I'll post it if I get time to try it. So this one was using colours you would never really see me use. One of them you do, which was carved pumpkin. And then we went to crackling campfire and abandoned coral on the edge. Now, first of all, I kind of figured what you meant with it. First time I did it, it came through way too dark because I thought that's going to make the flower disappear. So then I went back in and took what was left on the brushes and what was left on the stencil and faded it out. For me, again, this wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. So we went with this one, which was kind of in the middle. So I kind of went a bit heavier in the middle here with the orange. But you can see how we kind of, it's almost like that look, isn't it? We've got 3 generations of the same colour inks without adding any more ink to the brushes, just using what was on the stencils. I hope that made sense to you. So that was that one. And again, not colours you would ever see me use, but I really like this card. Really liked that card. And I don't always like everything I do for telly. So again, that's the same thing that happened here. This was the stamp, the initial one. It isn't embossed. And then just using the ink that was left on the stencil, after I'd embossed it, I popped that much ink on there. So again, really subtle if that's the way you wanted it to go. So that's me covered. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to say to you before we started on the demos. Good grief, look, I'm doing a TV. I'm 20 minutes in and I haven't done the demo yet. Right, promise, demo now. Right, so what do we need? We need 8x8 card. We need one piece at 7 1/4 inch white. It's all white tonight. And 2 pieces at 7 inches. All right. That's the hard. Oh, and some vellum. Now you all know that I keep the offcuts of my A4 pieces of paper when I've cut different shapes out, and that's what I use for making all my flowers with. So pop those to one side. Actually, we'll do the stencil first, I think. So the first layer that I told you about, the 7 1/4 inch, you're just going to ink all the way around the edge with the blending brush. That's what we're also using today, our blending brushes. They come in 2 sizes, the large and the medium. The medium is almost sold out at the moment. They won't be back in before Christmas. So if you're after them, you need to be quick. But we do have the larger ones still in stock. So just to pre-warn you on that. I knew there was something missing off my list earlier. So blending brush all the way around the outside edge. And that just gives us our first layer, which I'm going to stick down now. She says, my glue is bunged up. Everybody's quiet tonight, Amanda. It's just me and you. They're just watching me waffle. So I did waffle a bit to begin with, didn't we? But I will post pictures, more pictures of those cards this week. It's been a bit of a crazy busy week trying to get everything packed and dealing with lots of other things. I've managed to spend a fortune in this last fortnight. Maisie at the vet, 2 new tyres, a couple of other bits and pieces, and I've run out of money. It's been a really crazy week. Goodness knows what's going on. Right, so just stuck that piece down so it's out of my way. Then I'm going to bring in the mammoth machine. Ooh. Can you believe my mum dropped this fabulous piece of equipment on her foot this week, which was not a clever move. I'm going to try and bring that in far enough. All right, bear with me. Just grabbing my stencil because I was all set up to demo it, to emboss it. Let's go out this way. Get it out. So you're going to get a little bit of a rocking and rolling. I'll try and stop that in a moment. Fingers crossed. But while I emboss it, it will rock and roll. Every machine will have a different sandwich for this. So even if you've got the same big shot as me, it may be a slightly different sandwich to what I'm putting through here. So I've got an anti-static bag. No, it's not. I don't use an anti-static bag on this. This is a tumble dry sheet. The bruise, she's caught both feet actually, Amanda. So bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just anti-staticking the paper and the stencil, and I'm going to do both my mats. I'm just going over it really lightly. I'm not being precious about it. I'm trying to do this sitting down, and I need to be stood up to do this. That's going to cause me a problem, but hey ho. But I wanted to show you how simple it is. And then my clear mat over the top. As I say, this is different on every machine. So even if you've got the same machine, it will be slightly different because the pressure on every machine is different. So just fiddle about with it till you've found your level. Sorry, you're getting my arm in it a little bit as well. So I don't normally use an embosser machine quite like this. So the bruise on one foot is coming out quite nicely, but the bruise on the other foot seems to have gone internally and it's very sore. I always put my things through the machine backwards and forwards, and I don't know why, but we're going to go back again in a minute because, oh look, that's really wobbly. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do it really slowly. Thank you, Brenda. Hope she is fine. She just swore a lot. I think the air was very blue and it is very sore. But she is fine. Just a bruise. The tumble dryer sheet, Carol takes the static out of the plates. My rubber mat always gives me static in my plates when I'm doing what I'm doing. So by using the tumble dryer sheet, which is exactly what you use a tumble dryer sheet for in a tumble dryer, is to take the static out of the clothes and to make them smell nice. So yeah, that's what I use that for. And I'm going to just chuck this on the floor out of my way for now. Not literally chuck it on the floor, but you know what I mean. So that was it is the A4 machine as well. So obviously it's a larger machine, so it really will hurt when it bounces off your foot. So that is our embossed quilted. Now, when you emboss the quilted one, our stencils are roughly 7 by 7. It will emboss this outside line, and I didn't want the outside line on mine. So when I finished it, I do cut that edge off, but not until I finished colouring it in. So let me grab my board. So as I said before, the stencil will naturally slot back in its place once you've embossed it, and you take it all apart again. So you're just going to pop that down. I'm going to grab my inks. Try and come up in the screen, that will help. And take my brush. Again, I don't want it too heavy, so I'm not going too heavy with it. You can always go in and add, but you can't take it away. So just going lightly all over it. And I'm not going to finish it all because we'll be here all night while I just blend a stencil. That'll take a couple of minutes, but as I say, I waffled for 20 minutes. So that's what I wanted it to finish up like. As I said, I went in and I trimmed off that extra piece. If I remove this one, you'll see what I mean. Can you see how that's still got the white edge all the way around? If you like it, leave it on. It's entirely up to you. It doesn't affect it anyway, other than the fact that I didn't want it on mine. So I took it off. Just going to hold that on there so I don't lose it. If you could see the state of my desk, everybody, you'll know why I did that. So we've already put the first layer on. My second layer, I just want white. So I'm just leaving that completely white. And I'm going to stick that on. Carol, you're going to have an amazing Christmas this year. Sophia will be so much fun. I bet she's so excited. And I hope you're feeling better, because last time we spoke you were poorly again. And that everything else is all right. Is Sophia there? Let me know, Carol. So we just position that on there. So we're all flat layered. Nothing's raised on foam pads or anything, because there was no heat embossing, so none of it's raised, none of it's slightly twisted, none of it, as I say, sometimes I leave it to relax a little bit. You don't need to do any of that, it's all done. I managed to get myself a little bit of glue in there, and that will bug me, but we'll get that off at some point. Otherwise I'll just stick a gem in there. This is one of those ones that you could go ahead and stick a gem in every single one of these little pockets, and then your card could be done. But we're going to go a step further than that. So we're going to make some flowers. So I'm using the 2 medium sizes of the flowers and the foliage. Oh, we're going to see Santa tomorrow. Okay. Sophia, lucky you. Tell him that Amanda was a very good girl. And I'm sure you were a very good girl. And I hope you've told Santa what you want for Christmas too. Right, so we've got our vellum. We need to anti-static that. You don't have to do that. If you forget to do that, it isn't a deal breaker, because you only actually need your top flower to be pretty. Now, I have already made most of my flowers, just because the flowers, as you all know, do take a little bit of time to put together. Not forever. The biggest bit is the fussy cutting, Amanda. So, Versamark ink onto vellum. You can usually get 4, if not 5, generation stamping out of it. And then I'm just going to quickly do a couple, just one leaf on the end there. Oh, I'm glad you're going to tell him, Sophia. That way Amanda and I might get some nice goodies for Christmas. You never know. Right, so clearing sticky ink, and then we're going to use the white embossing powder. And I've just got to find it. There we go, because I picked up the wrong one. So we've got our white embossing powder, and we're going to sprinkle that all over. Give it a good flick. It's hilarious. My mum's got a friend visiting and I can hear her sneaking out. So, right, anti-static that, put our powder away and put the lid back on because that goes a long way when you spill it, speaking from experience. Right, so usually you would normally see me heating from underneath, but when I'm doing embossing powder onto flowers or onto vellum, I'll usually heat from above because it melts the powder quicker. And I'm usually cutting them out, so it doesn't matter if they're not absolutely beautifully perfectly smooth. So we're just going to get the heat gun warmed up first, and then as I heat it and it starts to melt, you're just moving the heat gun away. Do not be tempted to go back and give them that extra little once over to make sure it's all done. And mind the fingers because it does get hot. And that's all you need to do. So if you can see, this is the first stamped image and that was the 5th. Now the 5th you're pushing your luck a little bit. But 4th is definitely a really good image. 3rd, 2nd and 1st. The 1st can be quite juicy and you've got slightly wider lines. If you look, I wonder if we can cut one out. Oh, of course we can cut one out, but if I do this and we can put the 1st and the 2nd and the 4th, sorry, 5th, 4th together, you can see how tell me the right way, Matt. Go this way around. There we go. See, one is slightly more juicy lined than the other. So you can sometimes lose a little bit of detail on the first stamped image. So if you want a really crisp image, just be aware of that when you're using vellum or using the sticky ink onto vellum. Right, so once you've stamped them out, you're just going to turn them over and you're going to use your blending brush and you're going to scribble on the back. And you're going to do the same with the foliage. Now with this particular foliage, you're still going to be cutting out up here, the swirly bits, but you're only going to see the green through the leaf. So when I cut this particular foliage out, I do cut it slightly wider so you've got a little bit of the green showing through. So I do always colour further up the top. I'm going to make that pink flower a little pinker than it is. So I'm sure you're aware I've already got a load of these cut out, but I just want to give you an idea. So when you're going to go in and cut it, if you are not hugely confident fussy cutting, come away from the edge a little bit. If I can come in closer. Whoop, went too quick. You can see that my scissors are leaving that little edge all the way around. So if you're not hugely confident in cutting out, do that. If you're happy to cut out, I'm going to take you 3/4 of the way into the middle on that petal. Okay, and I am actually cutting those extra stamens off. If you wanted to cut round those and keep them, feel free. I am not doing that tonight. But you certainly could if you wanted to. So I'm just following those petals. Some of them overlap each other a little bit. But give yourself that follow the petal rather than cut across the petal. I'll show you if I can get this one cut out quicker than I seem to be doing at the moment. There we go. So like on this one, I've taken my petal in here, which means it cut into this one slightly differently. All right. You can see where that puppy got me now, look. but he was very cute, so he's allowed to. So then you're going to take a kebab stick and you are going to nip it on the side and curl it round. Now my flowers have all got 3 layers to it, but you can do as many as you want. 2, 5, 7, however many you want. Pop it. Oh, I've missed one petal off. And I'm quite rigid with that. So don't worry if some of your powder comes off. Some of it may come off. You don't want it all to come off. If it all comes off, it's because you've overheated your vellum with the powder on. You went and gave it that extra just in case, waft over. Pop it in the middle of your hand. Give it a poke and a wiggle. And the heat from your hand, I'm not crushing that, I'm just literally holding it. Heat from your hand will help those petals to stay upright. So you're going to do that and get yourself 3 flowers. And there's my 3. And we're going to stack those up together. And put your nicest one on the top. Not every flower has to be perfect. Doesn't matter if it's not. Everyone's gone quiet on me again. I'm hoping that you're all still there and just listening to me waffling. A couple of things to tell you about. If you did miss our shows last week on the 10th, they are available to watch on our catch-up, which you can click the link on our website and that will take you there. Or you can just go onto our YouTube channel and it will come up on there as well. Those have just managed to spin themselves all the way around, which is not what I wanted to happen. Anyway, once they're all stuck together, all 3 layers, I'm not going to fight with them tonight because I have 3 ready. Just absorbing the knowledge. That makes me sound like I really always know what I'm talking about, Amanda, and sometimes I don't. I do my best, but not always. So you're going to end up with 3 flowers. I've just popped a little pink gem in the middle of them. And I've got 3. This is the larger one, and these are the two ones are done with the medium. The same with the foliage. I've done a little selection of sizes, some large and some medium, predominantly the medium though with these particular ones. And you can see what I mean by colouring up to the green and leaving some of that in there. And again, the foliage doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I have also stamped out already the sentiment that I'm going to be using, which is Happy Birthday, which is the one from our vintage flowers. It's not the vintage one at all. From our Never Ending Circle, which I'm just going to grab to show you. Never Ending Foliage. We'll get there in the end. So I've used the Happy and the Birthday. I lined those up on my magnetic boards because it's got lines, so it kind of puts them level. But if you don't want them to be in a line and you want them random, go ahead and make them random. I think this is a really pretty flower, actually, Tina. I'm glad you said that. It's got a little bit more detail than some of our other flowers do. So they it just makes it pop a little bit more. It's a little bit different. So we're going back to our card and we're now going to decide where we're going to position these. As you probably will be aware, I do tend to put my flowers on first and then tuck my foliage in. Just going to give that a little bit more of a scrunch. So in my head, I'm thinking sentiment around about here. And I don't want these too far up in the corner. I want you to be able to sort of make them be part of the card rather than just be in the top there out of the way. So then I just kind of lay it around where I think I'm going to be putting things just to see if it works. If I'm happy with it, that's where they'll stay. And if I'm not, then we move them. What I do try and avoid doing is making it too symmetrical. And that could easily be done with these. So just be aware of that. Could very easily be done. Now, I don't want all of this foliage on this one. So with the bigger one, I am going to cut in and make this, get rid of this swirly bit on the top. and give myself just a little bit of foliage there. And maybe take that one away. So it's just a case of, and you mean you can even keep that swirly piece and just pop the swirly piece in on its own, just to add a little bit of detail. It's up to you what you do. This is your card, so make it how you want it to be. And again, I don't want that one in there for this one. I'm gonna snip that out, put that in there. Yeah, I think we'll be happy with it like that. So again, we've got extra foliage in there that we don't need, but keep it, pop it in a box, store it for the next time you're making flowers. Don't have to make so much foliage then. So we're going to pop our flowers down first. Just a little bit of glue will hopefully hold these in place for us, so we're exactly where we want them to be. You should watch a few YouTube videos, Amanda, to gain the confidence with your fussy cutting. The worst thing that can happen is you have to stamp it out again. See, I love fussy cutting. It's kind of like my switch off. I love doing it. So I could fussy cut for England quite happily. So I have tucked these up quite tightly. It could be a wedding card, Tina, very easily. This style could easily become a wedding card, and you could even match it if you found out what colour the bridesmaids were or whatever, you know. You could colour match it all in together. This one's arguing with me, so I'm going to beat it. Not literally beat it, but... And then we'll just stick the foliage down. I always stick top and bottom, and that way if it catches on the flower it's perfect, and if it doesn't, it's not. As I said before, I don't want these to be too symmetrical, so that some of these have managed to grip themselves under the flowers as I stuck them down, so I'm being a bit cautious. But I do, when I'm doing the foliage, I'm only sticking down the end of the foliage because I quite like that they've got a little bit of movement in them. So I haven't done huge amounts of faffing around with these ones. I've just left them to do its own thing. And now on this particular flower, this one isn't my best stamped image, and I know I've got a nicer one than that. So I'm going to go in and use it just because that piece was really standing out and it showed quite dramatically. And that's the nice thing about it, the fact that you've made these and you're positioning them where you want them to be. They hide a multitude of sins. There we go. So as you can see, this has a little bit of, I'll show you, come in a bit closer, a little bit of movement to it. So the foliage has got a lift on there. Viv, I am Christmased out, I think. Those of you that have known me for a while will know that I usually love Christmas. And my Christmas tree takes me 8 hours to put up because it's huge and every branch has to go in individually. And I haven't even had time to put that up yet, so who knows. So we've got some foam pads on this sentiment, so I'm popping a little bit of glue on there to give me some wiggle room to get that positioned where I want it. And the right way up always helps. And we're just going to pop that on there and press it down. Move some of my mess out of the way, even though it still stays in shot, you know what I mean. And that's it. That's the card done. Clean, simple. Well, clean and simple. It's clean cut. It's not necessarily clean and simple. I'm going to grab that stencil because you all know me. All has to be linked in without dropping it. And that little bit of ink that I've used, I am just going to take some of that and pop it in this corner randomly. Literally the lightest of touches on there, and that just carries that through into the center of your card. And that is our Forever Flowers. And I just think it's such a pretty little flower, and you could do so much with it. So what did we use on there? We used Forever Flowers, and we used our quilted stencil that we embossed. The sizes are 8x8 card, 7 1/4, and 2 pieces that were 7 inches. And we've cut the edge off of the stencil. Hope I can make this at the next class, please. It probably, I don't know, we'll have had new releases by then, Viv. So you never know. Might be something similar. I try and do stuff at the classes that you haven't seen on Facebook, which makes it even harder. I don't make my life easy, do I? So yeah, that's the finished card. I am now just going to, thank you everybody, you do all think that. It's pink and it's pretty. We like pink and pretty. Right, so let's quickly run back through what we've used. My goodness, how do I waffle for so long? I really do go on one sometimes, don't I? So we've got our super smooth cardstock that comes in 250 or 300 GSM, and we've got the vellum for making the flowers. Always keep those offcuts for your flowers when you're making stuff with vellum and you cut the pieces down to size. Hang on to those offcuts because they make a huge saving when it comes to making flowers. Unless you want to do like a whole sheet of it. Amanda, I know I've got mistletoe, or I've already, believe it or not, I've already started next year's Christmas cards. Or working on them, and I have already got mistletoe in there, or a reminder of mistletoe. So Versamark ink, white embossing powder. We have used, or should I say I have used, colours Kitsch Flamingo and Shabby Shutter, the anti-static bag, the blending brushes that come in the 2 sizes. Remember, the medium is nearly sold out at the moment and won't be back before Christmas. We then also have our sticky glue that comes in the 120 and the 30mm. Then our stamp sets. We've got Mystical Bouquet, which has sold out and is just about sold out again. So it will be coming up on pre-order. So if you are after it, be quick. There was only a couple left. Floral circles. And on this one, the sentiment that's here fits in this little section here. With love, just because, just for you. You are in our thoughts, and thank you. Thanks, Jules. Merry Christmas to you too. Then we have Forever Flowers, the 3 different size flowers and the 3 different foliage. We have a vintage wreath, just for you. Thank you very much. You, on your special day, sending birthday wishes and happy birthday to you. And finally, for the stamps, never-ending foliage with the large wreath here. And what was I going to show you about the wreaths? And I knew there was something else I had to say before we all left. So with our larger stamps that have a shape to them, I request that the centre is kept with the acetate, or with the photopolymer. So ours are a solid centre. And that is designed to keep this so that this stays in shape. So you're going to ink, when you ink it, you are going to take your ink pad, obviously when it's on a block, and go around the edges. If you think you've caught the middle, wipe it. Okay? You shouldn't ever catch the middle if you're careful how you do that. But if you do, just wipe that centre, that piece before you stamp your image out. Sorry, we missed you, Margaret. You'll have to go back and watch us. So yeah, that's our never-ending foliage. Thinking of you, happy birthday wishes, wishing you a day wrapped in happiness, and just wanted to say hello. Our stencils are Stencil and Mask Leaf Crest. Then we have the Flame stencil, and the quilted stencil, which is the one you've just seen us using, and our squares and rectangles stencil. So that's everything that was new, launched, and everything that we've used tonight to make. In case you missed that too, Margaret, this is what we've made tonight. Our fabulous Forever Flowers stamp, and the sentiment is from our Never Ending Foliage. So you get me back now. Lucky you. So I think that's pretty much us covered for the year. I've told you about being able to go and watch the TV shows on our catch up. So if you go onto our website and you click on the catch up, which I think is either across the bottom, oh no, sorry, on the first page as you log in on our opening page, or you can click along the top. There is a button that says catch up TV, I think, on there, and you can go in and watch the videos back. The ones from the 10th of December are now on there. Sorry, I'm stifling a yawn there. It caught me there. Are now on there, so you'll be able to go in and see that. Merry Christmas to you, Tina, and you, Amanda. Sorry, I've seen that flick through there, and to your lovely mum. Yeah, so you can go back and watch all of those. This is our last Facebook YouTube Live of 2024. So I would just like to say thank you very much to all of you for joining us throughout the year. I can't confirm which date we're back next in January yet. It's either the 2nd or the 9th, or it might be the following week. Hi, Deborah. Merry Christmas to you too. Hi, Di. Merry Christmas. Yeah, so keep an eye out on Facebook for that. And the date will come up through as soon as we can. 2025 is bringing lots of new goodies from Honeydew Crafts. We have lots and lots and lots to come to you. We have new goodies at the start of January for our first TV show, which I believe I want to say is the 27th. I meant to check that before I came on, but I forgot. I think it's about the 27th, 28th of January. And then we kick back into the shows in February. We are down south a couple of times. We're in Taunton. We're in Southampton's a new show we're coming down to. Those of you that have missed it, we are coming back to, where are we coming back to? Port Sunlight as well in October next year. Stamporama have taken over from I think it was called the Stamp Festival or something like that. So we will be up there for that one as well. So all that's left for me to say is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you again for all of your support this year. We know it's been a tough year for lots of you, and we really appreciate that you choose to join Honeydew Crafts and purchase our products. Have a lovely Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you all. Hope Father Christmas and Santa, or hope whichever is good to you. Sophia, make sure you sleep on Christmas Eve, because Santa comes to good girls that sleep on Christmas Eve for Mummy and Daddy. As I say, that's me done for the year. Hurry, Marianne. Merry Christmas,